Hi, I'm Britany Salsbury, Associate Curator of Prints and Drawings at the Cleveland Museum of Art, and I am coming to you from my home, where, like many of you, I've spent the past few weeks. And at the museum, I recently organized the exhibition, A Graphic Revolution, Prints and Drawings in Latin America, and so I'm very excited to have the chance to share just a few behind-the-scenes details about that with you today. And one thing I really love about the exhibition is that it is actually the very first to highlight the museum's collection of works on paper from countries like Mexico, Argentina, and Chile. And what you may not know is that some of the works in the exhibition are actually brand new to the museum. And so I'd love to share just a couple of those with you today.
When the museum acquires new works of art, one of the first things curators consider is what we already have. Cleveland has a wonderful collection of prints and drawings from Mexico during the 1920s and 30s, a period just after the Mexican Revolution, when citizens revolted against the country's dictatorial leader. I really love a section of the exhibition that features three prints by three artists, Diego Rivera, José Clemente Orozco, and David Alfaro Siqueiros, known as Los Tres Grandes, or the Three Greats of Mexican art, that each depict the revolutionary leader Emiliano Zapata in different ways. Rivera and Siqueiros both want us to see Zapata as a hero, whether sitting astride a dark horse or leading a group of workers over the fallen forms of the men who opposed him. While Orozco was more disillusioned and presents Zapata's followers as identical figures marching blindly. So for a graphic revolution, I wanted to look for works by more contemporary artists from a wider range of Latin American countries. One of these is an exciting gift to the museum by the Argentinian artist LAN Ferrari. He worked during a period when Argentina was ruled by a dictator who enacted censorship, and so in 1976, Ferrari fled to Brazil as a political exile for nearly 2 decades. We're seeing an aerial view of Sao Paulo, where Ferrari was living. Each square contains a tiny person walking in a very regular path. The print, which is very large in person, was folded into a smaller square at some point. And this is because Ferrari sent his prints to friends in other countries as a way of communicating while he was away. And I think that makes the work really wonderfully relevant right now. It fulfills the same desire for connection while being stuck in one place that FaceTime and Zoom are doing for us today. Another new acquisition in the show is an exciting purchase that the museum made last year by the Afro-Cuban artist Belk Ayan. Ayan worked almost exclusively in calligraphy, which involves printing with a three-dimensional plate that presses ink and embossed forms into a sheet of paper. This work reflects her fascination with abacoa, a secretive all-male society established by African slaves in Cuba during the 1800s. Here, she's depicting a princess who was part of abacoa's founding myth, floating, surrounded with vines, above three initiates to the group. And we can see how the artist drew on the group's mystery to reflect on her Cuban heritage and to create a technique and imagery that were entirely her own.
And so these are just a few of the highlights, both old and new, that are included in the exhibition. And I hope that you'll have the chance to see them in person when the museum reopens. You can see all of the works in the exhibition and read more about them today by visiting cma.org. In the meantime, thank you so much for joining me today.